die. Hey, swing those hips around. Can't stop, roll back down. My ladies, short, tall, thin or wide, always down and ready to ride.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene. You guys are watching Primed and Lubed for this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Well, at least here in Vernon anyway. March the 9th, 2025. This is also a milestone episode, guys. If you combine Lubed and Primed and Lubed, this is episode 400. So a big salute to me for hitting that milestone. And wow, this may exceed my normal 1 hour episode, as there's a lot to talk about. There's a ton to talk about. So before we get into that, guys, if you are so kind, can you hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and also hit the notifications, because on Sundays, I'm very sporadic. Sometimes I'll do an episode at 11. Sometimes I'll do it at 7. This one, and sometimes I'll do a redo like this one is. This one was actually supposed to go on at 3, and I realized I had some tech problems. So yeah, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. It will help grow the channel. And let's get into what we're going to talk about today. Obviously, a very brutal game against the Ducks. Ugh. And then Seabass nukes the Bruins. Yes, I am doing a segment on the Boston Bruins, but it's just so intriguing what happened at the deadline with them. Right after that, I'm also going to go over some of the other trades that happen around the league. So I'm not really going to do around the league this time with injuries and this and that. I'm going to really home in on the trade deadline. Then we're going to talk about the Oilers and Habs. And then the Oilers at the deadline. So I'm going to go back to the deadline, but this will be dedicated to what the Oilers did. We're going to look at, the Oilers and Stars game that happened last night, which was a very interesting game. As the Oilers came out of the gate flying and then let off the wheel late in the game. Western Conference standings, the poll, the upcoming games, and final thoughts. The final thought we're going to have today is, how did the Oilers do at the deadline? I want your thoughts on it. Chime in. I will do the best to try to get to everyone. If you guys should chime in, and we'll see. Let's get into this. Let's start off with the Edmonton Oilers and Ducks. Now, this is one of those frustrating games, because this is a team that the Edmonton Oilers, without a doubt, should roll over. This is one thing that I noticed, and this goes back for years and years and years, is these bottom tier teams seem to have their way with the Oilers, and I don't understand why. I think the Oilers let off the gas. These teams have something to prove. Hey, I want to beat McDavid. I want to beat Draisaitl. I don't know what it is. But for whatever reason, it's been a horrible time for the Edmonton Oilers during these against these bottom tier teams. So let's get into that right now, as we'll talk about the Oilers and Ducks. And we'll start off with a scoring summary, as it would be Leo getting his 45th on the power play from Ekholm and McDavid at 10:05. 2 minutes later, the other Leo would score, Leo Carlson for the Anaheim Ducks. His 14th, this would be unassisted at 11:57. Mason McTavish would get his 15th of the year, assisted by Gauthier and Lacombe. And then the Anaheim Ducks, starting to run over the Oilers, would make it 3-1, 18:26 into the game, with Colangelo getting his second from Gauthier and Lacombe. But they weren't done yet. You think the period was over? Nope. Literally, 12 seconds later, Mason McTavish would get his 16th, assisted by Goche and Colangelo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. 4-1 Ducks. 4-1 Ducks at this point in time. And I think this is the point in time, I believe it or not, there are games where I shut off and I'm like, F this, like I'm not going to waste my time with this. Then it goes into the second period. The Ducks keep rolling over the Oilers. Ryan Strome would get his 10th from Vertano and Lacombe at 13:22. That would be the only goal of the second period. In the third period, they keep coming. Killhorn would get his 12th at 3:56. At this point in time, it would be a 6-1 game where McDavid would kind of sort of save face, I guess, getting his 23rd on the power play from Bouchard and Leon Draisaitl. And it was just a brutal, brutal game. Let's take a look at some of the stats from that game. Shots on goal, 35. And this is the part that really I'm confused by, because the Oilers had the numbers in a lot of these areas. Shots on goal, Oilers 35-27. Hits, 28-21, Edmonton. Face-off win percentage, 56-1, Edmonton. Edmonton were 2 for 2 on the power play, 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. Their numbers appear to be good. Anaheim blocked a few more shots, 15-11, and they had more giveaways than the Edmonton Oilers at 15-11. Stuart Skinner. Now, I put both goalies on this particular one up because both goalies did play in this game. Stuart Skinner was a 636. Not Stuart Skinner. That would have been Calvin Picard was a 636. Stuart Skinner was an 875 when he came into. Both goalies under 9. They combined for, now, I think I got it here. If you combine them in total, I didn't write that down. I thought I did write that down. But it was something like a 7-something save percentage for the both goalies. Brutal, and that's where the conversation, once again, going into the deadline, we need a goalie, right? We need a goalie. And we didn't get one at the deadline. But I do think that is going to be something of discussion in the offseason. I think, depending on where they go from here. Now, if the Oilers somehow win the Stanley Cup this year and Stuart Skinner is lights out, obviously that conversation will die pretty quickly. Anyway, some of the other numbers that I had to dig up on this particular game. The bad numbers, Leon Draisaitl and Savoy were both -4. Picard and Skinner, here's that stat. I knew I had that stat. Picard and Skinner combined for a .755 save percentage. That's the combination of both of those guys. Not good. Zach Hyman, 3 goals, 1 assist in his last 10 games. Now, normal players, normal forwards, that would probably be a lot of numbers, but this is a guy that did 50 goals last year. Okay? He's 1 year separated from a 54 goal season last year. I want to see more out of Hyman, and I think we might. I'm going to get to that a little bit later. The good, Adam Henrique was an 85.7 on the dot. Matthias Ekholm, 5 takeaways. Podkolzin, 5 hits with 12 minutes of ice time. He made good with his ice time. I like Podkolzin. I know he's been shifted back down to the 3rd and 4th line here, but I do like what he brings to the table. ESPN stars for this game obviously do not incorporate any Edmonton Oilers, as Mason McTavish would get the first star with 2 goals, Jackson Lacombe with 3 assists, and Cutter Gucci, 3 assists as well. And there you have it. That was just a horrible effort by the Edmonton Oilers. I really need to see better out of them. And guess what, guys? We're getting better. They will get better. I like what they did at the deadline. We're going to get into that shortly. All right. Now we're going to kind of go off the yellow brick road, if you will. And we're going to talk about the Boston Bruins. Because they made the most entertaining trade deadline in a long time. Excuse me. They were really surprising me on this day, considering this team is only 1 or 2 years out of being the record-breaking, I think they had 134-point season or something like that. Just crazy numbers. And now they're just, they blew it right up. So I call this one Seabass Nukes the Bruins, and I'm going to explain that in a second here. Let me load that one up. Okay, so I am well aware that Seabass, and that's from Dumb and Dumber, he actually had a role in it. Cam Neely is the president of operations, and Don Sweeney is the one that actually pulls the triggers. That being said, when you're blowing up a team completely, you're under the direction of Cam Neely. You're not, there's no GM. If the Edmonton Oilers decide to blow up the team, that's going to be not a Bowman decision. That will be like the upper tiers making that decision. You know, you don't just blow up a team. So obviously I call this Seabass blows up the Bruins. Fitting name because Seabass, he was in Dumb and Dumber. So, and anyway, whatever. I'm going to go on with that. Let's look at everything that happened. So we'll start on March 4th as our Edmonton Oilers acquire forwards Trent Frederick, Max Jones, and Peter Huser in a 3-team trade involving the Boston Bruins, New Jersey Devils. Boston acquires defenseman Max Wayner, a second-round pick in 2025 NHL draft, a 4th-round pick in the 2026 NHL draft, and the New Jersey Devils acquire forward Shane Lachance. Then, on March 6th, the Minnesota Wild acquired Justin Brazeau from Boston for forwards Marit, I'm not even going to try to say that, Kubinesov. Sorry, guys, I'm bad with pronunciation. Jacob Luko, and a 6th-round pick in the 2026 NHL draft. March 7th, the Colorado Avalanche acquire forward Charlie Coyle. This is when you're starting to see, like, what is going on. Once I heard about this, and a 5th-round pick in the 2025 NHL draft from the Boston Bruins for forwards Casey Middlestat and William Zellers, and a 2nd-round pick in 2025 NHL draft. And it keeps getting better and better, trust me. Let's move on. Toronto Maple Leafs acquired defenseman Brandon Carlo from the Boston Bruins for forward Fraser Mitten and a conditional 1st-round pick in the 2026 NHL draft. This is all happening on trade deadline day, and a 4th-round pick in 2025 NHL draft. The big one, the huge one, Florida Panthers. And what surprises me even more about this is he's trading within the division. One of his studs that has been his stud for many years, his captain. Florida Panthers acquire forward Brad Marchand from the Boston Bruins for a conditional 2nd-round pick. That's all they got was and it's a conditional pick in the 2027 NHL draft. I was like, talk about just like a fire sale. Like, it was crazy to watch this. And then we're going to talk about some of the other deals. But yeah, Boston Bruins. Holy shit, did they ever did they ever disperse real quickly. Like, considering this team, and I'm not even joking when I say that, this team was the president winning, I think, record setting NHL team for most points in a season literally 2 years ago. And it's just gone. Other notable deals. Well, let's get into it. Nyquist traded to the Wild by the Predators. Bergstrand and Gord traded to the Lightning in a 3-team deal. Bunting traded to the Predators by the Penguins for Shannon Novak. Smith traded back to the Golden Knights from the Rangers. That's right, Riley Smith is back as a Golden Knight. He was on that Stanley Cup winning team. Sosi traded to the Rangers by the Canucks. That's another one that kind of surprised me. Because I do know, me and BC, I do know a few Vancouver fans, and they liked Carson Soucy. Nelson traded to the Avalanche by the Islanders. I think I like what the Avs have done. Lawton traded to the Maple Leafs by the Flyers, and Rantanen traded to the Stars by the Hurricanes. Now, I was really surprised to hear that the Edmonton Oilers were actually pretty seriously in on Rantanen. They just couldn't quite get enough pieces together to make Dallas say, yeah, we'll bite on that one. So, yeah, I was shocked. They were kicking tires on Rantanen, though. From my understanding, the Edmonton Oilers were kicking tires on Rantanen. That would have been crazy if we got Rantanen on the team. So, yeah, there you go. A lot going on regarding the trade deadline. Boston Bruins, my God, I'm trying to think. Do I remember a team from that quick of glory to that fall of grace, that quick to disperse their members? I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. So, yeah, interesting. Then we go on to what happened earlier this week, which was the Montreal Canadiens in town against the Edmonton Oilers. And I love when these two teams play, especially in Edmonton, because they'll go, let's go Oilers. And then the Habs fans will go, Oilers suck, Habs, or whatever. I don't know what they say, but it's quite a melodic chant that goes on throughout the building when they play. So let's take a look at this particular game, as it would be a 3-2 win in overtime. And we'll get to that right away. Shortly. As it would start off with Corey Perry getting his 14th by Connor McDavid, and our new player, Jones, getting his first assist. He looked pretty good in this game. He looked very good, actually. Then Cole Caulfield would get his 31st, tying the game at 15-14. We would go to the second period where Leon Draisaitl would get his 46th on the power play, a minute and 6 seconds into the period. Joel Armina would tie it in the second period. From Hudson and Evans, there would be no scoring in the third period. And I'm going to try to cue this up here. I think I got it. It would be Evan Bouchard getting his 11th from Leon Draisaitl.
The winner in overtime.
Yes, Evan Bouchard finally would be a contributing factor. He's had a tough go. He's had, like everyone knows, he's had a tough go. in this game. Let's take a look at some of the stats. And all right, shots on goal, 32-27 for Edmonton. Hits, Montreal led the way there, 26-15. Face-off win percentage, again, the Oilers slipped down on that particular stat at 54%. The power play, Edmonton was 1 for 3. The penalty kill is starting to look good for the Edmonton Oilers. And now that we added some size at the deadline, I think it's going to get better and better, as they were 2 for 2. Block shots, 24-14 for the Canadians. Giveaways. Oof, this is ugly when I read this stat. The Edmonton Oilers gave the puck away 12 times, the Montreal Canadiens only twice. That was ugly. That being said, Stuart Skinner had a rebound performance. He saved 25 of 27 for a .926 save percentage. That, I believe, deserves a huge, huge applause. And yeah, you know, he's off and on, and we just hope he can somehow find a little bit of his way and find his confidence. Because they honestly, the goaltenders, let's be honest, they play the toughest position, because what they play is only on them. All the forwards are responsible for the lack of goal scoring. All the D-men are kind of responsible for defending, but it'll always fall back on the goalie for not making the saves, and it does suck. Like, you got to be a different type of person to want to take on a goaltender role. Some of the other numbers that we're looking at, the bad, only 4 players have 10 or more power play assists. So I had to, on this particular game, I had to really dig for some numbers, and kind of season-long numbers. So it doesn't really apply to this specific game, because it was actually a very well-played game overall. Kasperi Kapanen is -9 for the season. And Vasily Podkolzin has only won 22% of his face-off draws. And like I say, at this point in time, that game, I was digging for some numbers. So when I'm digging, that's a good thing. The good, Max Jones debuts with an assist, a +1. He had 2 shots. Stuart Skinner had a pretty good. He had .926 save percentage. I never finished that line off. And Draisaitl, 1 goal, 1 assist. The stars for this particular one, Leon Draisaitl with the goal and the assist first. Evan Bouchard with a goal and assist. Second star, and Cole Caulfield with a goal. And that would be the second game of the week, as the Edmonton Oilers would be now 1 for 1 for this particular week. All right. We're going to take a look at what the Edmonton Oilers did at the deadline. I'm actually okay with what they did. They didn't go too crazy. It would have been nice to get Rantanen, don't get me wrong. But what I've seen so far, and I haven't even seen Trent Frederick play, but out of the 2 players, Max Jones and can't think of it. Max Jones and our defenseman that we got from Anaheim. Just can't think of his name right now. It's not coming to my mind. But anyway, I think they did very good. Completely, like, I've seen some really good things in the games that they have played thus far for the Edmonton Oilers. So let's take a look at the Oilers at the deadline and what they actually were able to accomplish, as there was a few new bodies coming in. All right. On March 4th, the Edmonton Oilers acquire forwards Trent Frederick, Max Jones, Peter Hauser in a 3-team trade involving the Boston Bruins. I already went over this with the Boston segment, but I'm going to go over it again. The New Jersey Devils Boston acquires defenseman Max Weiner, second round pick, 25 NHL draft, and a fourth round pick in 2026. The Jersey Devils acquired Shane Lachance. Like I said, I already repeated that on the Boston segment, but I had to do a Boston segment. That was chaos. All right. Then the Oilers would get defenseman, and there we go, Jake Wallman. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. From the San Jose Sharks for a conditional first round pick, 2026 draft, and forward Carl Berglund. And yeah, from what I've seen, and I'm going to get into it when I get into the Dallas Stars game, but I saw a pretty nice pass. I'll get into that once I get into it. I don't want to give away right now. So let's talk about Peter Hauser a little bit here. And I pulled up some of his elite profile stats here. Let's go through some of his stuff here. Okay, so his date of birth is September 19th, 2003. He's 21 years of age. His birthplace was Plzeň, Czech Republic. Nation he represents is Czechia. His team youth was HC Plzeň. His height is 193 centimeters. He's a 6'4" right wing that shoots. What does he shoot? Shoots right. So that's one area where he could eventually be something that the Oilers look at. His contract is for 24-25. The Edmonton Oilers have him, but he is unsigned. He was drafted in the 2022 round 5, 141 overall by the New Jersey Devils. He has a one award to his name with the under 20 silver medal at the World Junior Championships. His numbers, they're not honestly, they're not super flashy. In the last few years, he's played 30 games. He's got 7 assists, and these are in Czech leagues. So I'm going to be honest with you. When I looked at his numbers, I'm going to be very doubtful that he makes it to the NHL level. I'm going to say that right now, unless he does a significant improvement. I don't even think he's going to make it to the AHL level, but he's a possibility. We'll see. We'll see. I think he's going to be pretty much a throwaway, but I could be wrong. Trent Frederick, on the other hand, is going to be a pretty good piece for us as I'm going to load up that one here. As he was born February 17th, 1998. Oh, I got Max Jones up. Hang on one second. I've got the wrong person here. Trent Frederick. Okay. February 11th, 1998. He is 27 years old, born St. Louis, Missouri. 6'3", shoots left. What else do we got here? He is signed for, I believe, a couple of years, which is good. He has a one-time under 18 World Junior bronze medal, a one-time under 20 World Junior bronze medal with Team USA as he represents that. His cap hit is $2,300,000. So I think I can't wait to see him in action. Right now, he is nursing, I believe, a broken foot. But we will see where he goes from there. We got some comments coming in. It's Renegade Man. Let's see what he has to say here. All right. Thank God Bowman didn't give the fans a trade for Gibson. He's injured again. Well, that's probably exactly why. That's exactly why. Him being injured, I'm kind of with you too on that one, because is that really, like, look, we need to correct the goaltending situation. It's too off and on, but I don't think having an elder statesman is necessarily the answer. I mean, yeah, it kind of worked for us a few years ago with Mike Smith. I think we really need to buckle down our D and then really see what we have. So now I think we got more size. Now this is time for Stuart Skinner to really prove himself because we got more size. We got a great puck movement defenseman in Wallman. I think, and then once Trent Frederick comes in, and then once our guys get healthy, Matthias, then we got to see. Then we got to really evaluate what Skinner brings to the table. Renegade man, Max Jones is a keeper in my eyes. You think? I think so too, man. He he looked pretty damn good. I was actually quite impressed with him, and I just like the size that he brings too. Like Boston, wow, how they just blew up that team is crazy. All right, Wallman has been impressive in his first game as an Oiler. Okay, I'm gonna hold that thought, Renegade Man, for just a bit because I do have something to say when I get to the overview of that game. And Kane will start pummeling everyone in the playoffs. Oh, you know what? Since that injury, Evander Kane has not been himself. I also noticed when he did come back from that injury, he seemed a little reluctant to mix it up. I mean, he still was, but it wasn't the same. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I would really like to see him back and being a pivotal point. Okay, so now we're going to move on to... Yeah, I'm trying this a little bit different this particular episode to not leave all the comments until the end so that we can actually talk about how the Edmonton Oilers did at the trade deadline. So, Renegade Man, I want to know your thoughts, and we'll post your thoughts at that point in time of how they did it at the deadline. We're going to talk about Max Jones. I got to get my graphic here. Okay, Max Jones. Now, I started off, you kind of got the date of birth, which is February 17th, 1998. He's 27 years of age. Another player from the United States. The United States is getting better and better and better when it comes to their hockey program. He's 6'3". He can play right wing, left wing. He shoots left, 216 pounds, so he's got a little bit of weight behind him, and that's the beauty thing. His notable moments is he got the bronze medal in the under-20 World Junior Championship. He is a one-time CHL Memorial Champion, and he is a one-time OHL champion. I love what he brings to the table. He brings the hard work ethic, punishing, hard-hitting guy. Because that's one thing. I'm going to be honest with you. Until these trades were we were soft. We were soft, man. Teams were running over us. That's why when you have McDavid blocking more shots than your D-man, what the hell is that? Like, okay, you're going to take out your $15 million player with a broken ankle or something like that because he's blocking shots. I never agree with that. No team, whether you're Boston and it's Pasternak, whether you're Colorado and it's McKinnon, whether you're Kucherov, none of those guys should be blocking freaking shots. Like, it's stupid. Like, those are your bread and butter guys. Those are your guys that are going to be clutch when it comes to playoff time. So his numbers are moderate, but he's not there to score goals. We have goal scorers. He's there to bring the size. So, I didn't flip over that graphic when I did him. I'll just show you real quickly the graphics here. I got caught up on the graphics on my screen and not on this. So just quickly go over his numbers here. He's going to be a good piece for the Edmonton Oilers, 100%. I do like what the Edmonton Oilers did. I really do. Did they address the goaltending situation? Does it really need to be addressed, or do we need to really figure out what is going on with it? Then we got Jake Wallman, and I'm going to be honest with you. I did have no clue who this guy was when my buddy called me up and saying he was on the phone like, we just got Jake Wallman. And he was all excited. I'm like, I didn't know who he was. I had to do some looking. Then I looked and I saw the one stat that I saw about Jake Wallman that really stood out was on the San Jose Sharks, on the pathetic San Jose Sharks. He is only a -1. So that says a lot about this guy. And then when I saw that pass, and I was going to save it to the highlights of the game there last night, but that pass, I'm not even joking, guys, looked a lot like Carlson to Hoffman. It looked a lot like that. Like, it was sweet watching that pass. I was like, that was my initial reaction. Carlson to Hoffman. Okay, so Jake Wallman, age 29, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He is a dual citizen with Canada and U.S. He is 218 pounds, has a little bit of size, but don't expect him to be a checker. He's more of a puck-moving D-man. He is 6'1", shoots left. His contract will expire at the end of 26. It has him listed as a defensive defenseman, but I think he's more of an offensive defenseman. His cap hit is $3.4 million. The Oilers have him. The interesting thing is when San Jose obtained him from Stevie Y in Detroit, Stevie Y had to actually throw in a piece to get rid of him. And now it's starting to look like, what was he thinking of? Like, why? He gave him away for nothing to San Jose and added, I think, a prospect. Here, take him off our hands. We're happy with it. And I was shocked to hear about that. He is a one-time NCAA champion winner. He is also a one-time NCAA first All-American team and a one-time NCAA East second team All-Star. This guy is going to be good for us. This guy is going to be extremely good. You're correcting me on that second, actually. What do I got here? One-time NCAA first American All-Team. And one-time second All-American. Yeah, did I not mention? Well, if I didn't mention that. Anyway, you are right, Renegade Man. I do have the second man there. He is gonna be huge. I do believe it, and I really think what the Oilers did. You know, it's right now. That's how I feel. But I also felt that what Stan Bowman did in the summertime was going to be very good for us. And it didn't do so much. Arvidsson and Skinner have not really paid off as much as I think most of us would like. So when he was on Detroit, his best year was, what do I got here? Goals, total points. Yeah, he didn't really do much with Detroit, but they didn't give him enough of a lifeline. This year he's had 32 points with the San Jose Sharks, as he had 6 goals and 26 assists. He's already got 1 assist with the Edmonton Oilers. His projected hit by the end of this season is 8 goals, 37 assists for 45 points. And he'll probably be a +3. I think he'll be higher than a +3 because he's actually on a good team. If you're in a -1 on a shitty team, that's saying a lot. And as a D-man as well. So welcome aboard to the guys. here we go, guys. We're a little over a month away from really witnessing what can actually be going on. And Renegade Man, he says a second round pick, Eiserman sent with Wallman to San Jose for future consideration. Yeah, like not, they gave him F all. Like that was a steal for Mike Greer, former Edmonton Oiler Mike Greer, by the way. So yeah, I like it. I like what the Oilers did. But I do have that poll question coming up for you guys shortly. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars that happened last night. This was a very interesting and kind of a weird game as the Edmonton Oilers came out of the gates flying and really let off the wheel and made it very, very, very close. And this is the stuff that they're going to have to clean up as far as a team goes. Because it's not going to do very good for them. It was a 5-4 game when it should have been, 5-1. Like, I'll go over it right now. But the goal scoring would start off with Wyatt Johnson getting his 24th on the power play, assisted by Robinson and Rantanen. And Rantanen making an impact on the very first offensive goal by the Dallas Stars at 5:48. Zach Hyman would get his 21st from Connor McDavid and Darnell Nurse at 6:12. But the beauty play of the night, and probably one of the nicest plays I've seen this year, was Zach Hyman getting his 22nd from an absolute Hail Mary from Jake Wallman. And when I saw this, and again, going back to what I was just saying, it had shades of Carlson to Hoffman. 12-26, it would be 2-1 for the Edmonton Oilers, and they'd keep on coming. Victor Arvidsson would get his 8th from Evan Bouchard, making it 3-1, 17-42. We go into the second period. They keep rolling. Connor McDavid getting his 24th of the year at 5:20 from Nuge and Zach Hyman. Connor Brown would get his 8th, 17:40 of the second period. The Edmonton Oilers in full command, 5-1 lead after 2 periods. But it would change. It'd become 5-2 when Rantanen would get his 28th on the power play from Duchesne and Harley. Jamie Benn, his 16th, literally 11 seconds later from Cece and Dadanoff. And then Dumba would get one from Marchment and Grunland. And at this point in time, there's 10 minutes left, and it's a 1-goal game, but the Oilers did manage to fight it off in this particular game. I don't like the fact that they let off the wheel so much in that third period. They need to close out games. They need to understand how to close out games. Okay, let me move on to the stats here. Shots on goal, Edmonton led the way, 27-25. Hits, Edmonton, 22-12. Dallas was better on the dot at 52.8. The Edmonton Oilers in this game did not get a single power play. They were 0 for 0. I was shocked when I saw that. They never got a single power play. The Dallas Stars got 3, and the Oilers were able to kill only one of them. So not exactly a good penalty kill, and that's, I think, where things got a little... Well, actually, the power play goal was in the first period with Johnson, and the very first goal of the third period at 5:06 when Rantanen scored. So it wasn't really the thing that cued the comeback, but it's just kind of very one-sided when one team gets 3 power plays and the other team gets none. You're telling me there was no infractions on the Dallas Stars throughout that whole game. I find that kind of hard to believe, but what? I guess nothing for them to see. Block shots. The Edmonton Oilers led the way with 19-18 on that. Giveaways 24-20 for the Edmonton Oilers. They gave it away a little bit more. And again, Stuart Skinner kind of fell a little bit down here as he is sub 900 with an 840 save percentage, saving 21 of 25, but he saved the ones that counted towards the end of the third period. The bad numbers, 4 minutes and 12 seconds in the third allowed Dallas to score 3 goals to put them within range, within 1 goal. The Oilers failed to receive a single power play, as I mentioned. Bouchard and Podkolzin, 3 giveaways each. The good Zach Hyman, 2 goals, 1 assist, 5 shots plus 2. Gotta love that. It's nice to see Hyman going again. When it comes to the next good thing, Connor McDavid, 1 goal, 1 assist. Jake Wallman in his debut, 1 assist, plus 3. So I'm really, really not complaining about that at all. A very good effort. This episode's going to carry over 1 hour for sure because we still have to go over the next games going forward. But yeah, our 3 stars for that particular game: Zach Hyman, 2 goals, 1 assist; Connor McDavid, 1 goal, 1 assist; Mikko Rantanen, 1 goal, 1 assist. And there you have it. There's our 3 goals going, or 3 games of the week that took place. And now the Oilers will embark on a road trip, and we'll get into that in a little bit here as we go into the updated standings for the Western Conference. And here we go. I did a little bit of a change on this, by the way. Instead of having the little arrow up and a little arrow down, I kind of made it more user-friendly for you guys. All right, let's go through all the teams in the West. You got Winnipeg, Dallas, Vegas, and Edmonton staying status quo in their same position. Minnesota goes down a spot. Colorado goes up a spot. LA stays even. Vancouver goes down a spot. Calgary is up a spot. St. Louis, Utah, Anaheim, Seattle, Nashville, Chicago, and San Jose stay in their respective spots from last week. And that puts us to our new playoff pairings, and there has been a bit of a change as the Calgary Flames are now in the mix, as Vancouver are sitting on the outside looking in. They would take on the juggernaut Winnipeg Jets. That's going to be a tough team to beat in the playoffs. Minnesota will take on Vegas. LA would take on Edmonton. And the Colorado Avalanche would take on the Dallas Stars, which would be a dandy to see Mikko Rantanen against his former team. That could be a good one. That's how it aligns today. Whether it's going to align like that on, I think the 15th is when, April 15th is when the playoffs start. Who knows? But that would be a dandy. All right, let's go into the poll question, which is a very obvious one. Very obvious one. How do you think the Edmonton Oilers did at the deadline? Let me get that graphic up there. You can scan that QR code. It'll take me directly to my Twitter feed. But how do you like the moves that the Edmonton Oilers did at the deadline? Do you like them? I put yes. Okay, so I don't know if I got this written the way it should be, but yes is a positive. No is a negative. Do you like the moves? Yeah. So do you like the moves the Edmonton Oilers did at the deadline? Yes or no? It's a very simple question. Scan that QR code. It'll take you directly to my X page. If you want to just do it manually and you're scared that this QR code is going to lead some viruses or whatnot, it's just Gene Edwards at lubedhockey.com. All right. Now we're going to get into the upcoming games here. As the Edmonton Oilers embark on yet another Eastern road swing. I think this is like 2 years in a row where they come back from the East for a few games and then go back out East again. So they will hit up the East Coast United States for a few games here. And it'll start in Buffalo tomorrow night. And then they will take on the New Jersey Devils on Thursday, the New York Islanders on Saturday, and then I believe they play the Rangers on Sunday. So there will be a back-to-back. I just have only those 3 games because I will come on next Sunday before that game or after that game, depending on when that game is. I still haven't looked. But let's look into these games here as they will take on the Sabres tomorrow. And the Buffalo Sabres, they are not playoff bound, really struggling as they are currently 8th in the Atlantic, the worst team in the Atlantic, with a record of 24-32-6. 8th in the Atlantic. It hasn't really worked out so well for McLeod. There was even talks that the Oilers may consider bringing him back into the fold, but that obviously never happened at the deadline. They are 12th in the league for goals at 3.13, 20th in the league at 27.8, 27th in the league for the power play at 16.8. Their faceoffs are 26th in the league with 48. Their shooting percentage is tied for 6th at 11.3. So when they do get the shots, they make them count, which is a good thing, but they're just not there's so many elements of their offensive game that is just not panning out for them. Their defensive end of things is from all in the 20s to the 30s. Goals allowed, they are 30th in the league. They're averaging 3.5 goals a game. 22nd in the league for shots on goal allowed at 29. Their penalty minutes is 29th, very undisciplined at 9.7. Penalty kill percentage is 20th in the league, tied for 20th at 76.9. The last time they met, the Edmonton Oilers defeated them 3-2, January 25th in Edmonton. And currently, the Sabres are on a losing streak of 6 games. So they're really feeling it pretty bad. Stuart Skinner likely to get the start, and hopefully this could be a game to really rejuvenate his confidence. His record is 22-15-4 with a 287 goals against average, 897 save percentage with 2 shutouts. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I love saying that name. His record is 20-20-4 with a 314 goals against average, 890 save percentage. He also has 2 shutouts. Then we move on to the next game, which will be against the New Jersey Devils. And I'll pull up that one there. This will be on March 13th at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. As the last time they met, it was November 4th in Edmonton, where the Jersey Devils really took it to Edmonton. Well, I wouldn't say really took it, but they shut them out 3-0. But this is another team that was kind of doing good. Well, they're third in the Metro. The question is, with Jack Hughes out of the lineup, is that going to be a massive drop back? And will they actually somehow make the playoffs. Because from my understanding, Jack Hughes is done. He's not going to even, the last I heard, he will be ready for training camp next year. He's not even going to be able to play in the playoffs after taking a massive hit from fellow United States player Jack Eichel about a week ago and just really screwed up his shoulder. Okay, so the New Jersey Devils are tied for 14th, 295 for goals. Shots on goal, they are tied for 10th at 28.9. Power play percentage, they are 4th in the league at 27.6. So they can fly on the power play, which is good, but is that a power play? Who is the quarterback of that power play? Was it Jack Hughes? Because that number may change. Face-off win percentage, 20th in the league at 49.6. Shooting percentage, tied for 18th at 10.2. Defensively, they are second in the league for goals allowed, 5th in the league for shots on goal allowed. Penalty minutes, they a little bit undisciplined, 22nd in the league. And penalty kill, they are 4th in the league. So defensively, they are pretty strong. Jacob Markstrom will come into this game with a 21-12-5 record, 234 goals against average, 907 save percentage with 3 shutouts. So he's having a pretty decent year. And we'll see what they can pull off. Then they will cap it off against the New York Islanders, and this will be a Saturday night game. I believe, no, 4:30. So in my time, it would be 4:30, be 5:30, I guess, in Alberta. The New York Islanders not having such a good year as they are 6th in the Metro with a record of 29, 26, and 7. Tied for 26th in the league for goals. Not tied, but 12th in the league for shots on goal. 31st in the league for the power play. Face-off win percentage. They rule that right now as they are number 1 in the league on the dot at 54.9. Shooting percentage, tied for 29th at 9.5. Defensively, they are tied for 15th for goals allowed at 2.95. Shots on goal allowed. They are 17th in the league at 28.7. Penalty minutes, 2nd in the league, 5.8. Penalty kill, 30th in the league at 70.6. It'll be likely that it'll be Ilya Sorokin behind the pipes for them with a record of 24-19-4, 276 goals against average, 905 save percentage with 3 shutouts as well. Another goalie with some respectable numbers going forward. So this could be a bit of a tough road trip. Because we all know how the Edmonton Oilers do against teams that aren't exactly very good. All right, let me fix that up a little bit there. Okay, got to lock these graphics in. So that'll be interesting to see. All right. Okay. Now we're going to go into final thoughts. I pretty much messaged or took all of Renegade's Man's messages. So I don't know if he chimed in for anything here on the final thoughts portion. And I'm just going to ramble on about what I think and how the Oilers did at the deadline. I think they did very well. Again, everything that translates on paper doesn't necessarily translate on the ice. We saw that with the Nashville Predators. We saw that even with the Edmonton Oilers, getting Arvidsson and Skinner. We all thought this is going to be a souped-up team. It's going to be good. We just have to wait and see. Now it's a waiting game. But if those acquisitions that the Oilers got turn out good, and yet we're still having goaltending problem, we have to really address that in the offseason. That's all I have to say. We have to address it. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to be out of here. I took up enough of your time. And actually, I just went over by an hour. I thought this would be an hour and 20 minutes or so because so much to talk about, but it was over an hour. I will talk with you guys next week. And hopefully, we are going to be talking about a very successful road trip for the Edmonton Oilers. But other than that, I'm out. You guys have a great, amazing week.